And I'm starting at 15 after the hour for 15 minutes, correct, Alex?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
Okay, so I will start. Thank you for attending today's webinar. Our today's webinar is going to discuss about the building the healthcare AI agent. So I will first share my slide. Okay, so we are going to have four speakers, including me, and the schedule will looks like. So I will introduce. This is actually the introduction. And I'm going to talk about very broad topic, current status and the future directions of healthcare AI agent. And then followed by the Kerrie. He is a book author of the large language model and generative AI for healthcare. So he's going to talk about in demystifying that the AI agent in healthcare. So he's talk about very basic about the beyond my misconception and clarifying their role. And then followed by Rakesh Gohel. He is very famous in this AI agent space. So he's a founder of the JUTEQ, and actually he actually developing AI agent for healthcare application. So he is going to talk about more default level and then practical implementation, and also he will share some demo. And finally, DeepSeek-powered PatientSeek is kind of like I think that I've looked at the all the like healthcare space whether there is a the DeepSeek is the current global like attention. So I look at their potential for healthcare application, and I found the this application actually the based on DeepSeek, and then they are going to like apply to some healthcare area. So Chia Jeng is a co-founder of the WhyHow.AI. So he will share how he did and then how he's inside about the DeepSeek in healthcare space. Okay, so without any delay, I will start my own topic first. I prepare a lot, but you know that in chat, please share your question and comment. And also, I share my presentation. So I will just focus on very essential part of my presentation, but all are well written. So they are all document is prepared and then shared. So you can look at it in detail later. So for me, you can see that I'm in the best way actually that you know about my activities in AI agent and healthcare and other technology area is in LinkedIn. So actually that I've been in 30 years in high tech, health tech, and all kind of technology, emerging technology area. And then so you can look at it my all my like video materials in my YouTube channel. And also I often like a specific topic about AI agent and digital health topics in Medium. So I have about 30 the articles all cover about this topic. So you can check later. Okay, so what's the status? So as of last year, so there was one side actually looking at the whole the AI agent project. So at that time, actually, that I checked the 662 AI agent project listed in this site. And actually, I started to looking at the deep dive into every individual like project, and then started to like curate. And then I check myself whether there is like whether they are really relevant or not. So and then some are not maybe not relevant as an AI agent, and actually I curated. So I did for first. I'm very interested in the like a platform to building the AI agents. So I look at the all the project and then I figure out about 90 platform is very, very active now. So I just curate and then I made this as a book. So I just provide all detailed profile about the 90 platforms. So some are low code, no code platform, and open source, something like that. I just characterize them by characteristic. And then starting from actually that I'm then thinking about the
Mm.
actually detail level of how to use this platform in future. I was just so busy about many other topics. But anyway, this is one, and I'm gonna look at the others. And then in the all the like vertical, so there are a lot of the like vertical industry application automation in the industry, type engineering and the science, and in even like consumer, like it's all kind of vertical market that I'm going to talk about. But particularly, I'm very interested in healthcare. That is my current focus. But my spectrum, I spent 30 years in all different industry vertical, so I'm going to do. Okay, so for the healthcare, actually, you will see that this is mostly startups. So if you look at the startup landscape, for example, for the digital health is another my focus area. I look at the over the 1 year, I look at about the 600 digital health startups, and then I look at all the detailed profile. I'm going to do in the next my webinar will be in relation to them, but. I'm just desperately looking at the like how many actually the currently is doing in the startup space, and I find about the 30. So I can see that it is very early stage, depending on like how you define it, but actually that just based on this startup activities compared with the others, that to my understanding, about 30 that I can find actively search. So it's very early stage I can see. And most of them are applied to administrative AI agents. Just for example, that like in the hospital or clinic operation, there is many different type of administrative AI agent like the burden to the like step doctors, nurse, and the supporting staff. So they try to have this situation. So this is a traditional way that usually the covered by the they call healthcare IT space. And some are working at like a co-pilot project to like a clinical practice. So actually the, how doctors can communicate the patient and then other like the in the medical practice type there are few and also like operation like a traditional operation of the clinic or the healthcare and some other like a payers so they are working in but only few. And particularly, I'm very interested in directly related to patient care. I found only few, and this is the one like for R&D space, for example, drug discovery or the clinical trials, only few. So you can see that the what the current the status, focus, and very early stage. And then and this is the one actually that I wrote about 2 months ago. I'm very interested into because at the time I could not find any good reference about the particularly AI agent focus in healthcare. So I accumulate all kind of information and then curate it. And I wrote a very short book, but actually it was a starting point. Very interesting in healthcare application of an AI agent. So what the future direction is, I'm looking at nearly at the end of this year, big tech giant. So usually what I mean by big tech giant, usually Google, Microsoft, Apple, and Oracle, right? And this kind of NVIDIA, like you can think of an AI tech big giant, they're starting to explore the business model for the application of an AI agent in healthcare. So this will be the very like significant like a direction change because usually that that's what I'm going to talk about later a little bit. I only have a 5 minute, but usually the tech giant are not usually be in healthcare area except that they usually they call like for example like well-being type. So for example, you know maybe know about like the smartphone based like your they change like measure your heart rate and measure you like by your symptoms, and then they try to do like some providing some like a health lifestyle. But I've never been into like as a traditional meaning of the healthcare in the default level and under the like a regulatory space and the medical grade type software type. But they come to this area now. So I will look at the old things and then I already published them, but anyway, but they can do that in later. So Google Inside actually that I just provide all the information in my article, so you will look at it. But one thing that very interesting in is to like for example, here. So they have six type of the agent. They provide like a custom agent, employee agent, and creative agent, data agent, code agent, security agent. So I just look at whether their potential to apply in healthcare. So I recommend, and then particularly that here that the use case, and then there are a lot of the use cases that they're developing, but they are not the country that already deployed. It's a planning or some collaboration. So I mentioned it's a future direction, but it's very interesting, right? So you will look at this one, and then I found that they have some old vertical industry, like some of they assign some their in-house like a staff, and I found one the head of this activities, and then tried to contact her and invite her, but she, I'm not sure whether she joined or not, but maybe in the future I may have opportunity to directly like invite the person in charge of this space, and then we can have a chance to hear about what the Google's direction in healthcare AI agent. But anyway, I recommend that you look at it. Same thing. I look at the NVIDIA. Particularly, NVIDIA is very active in strategic partnership. And I'm familiar with this healthcare company because as I mentioned, I curate about the 600 global healthcare, like digital healthcare companies, and particularly startups, and then look at all their profile and categorize them. So I know about all this company, and then iCuba is very famous in clinical trial. Hippocratic AI is very famous in like a patient care. Something that all startups they are very active in collaboration with NVIDIA. So you should look at even the big like clinic, hospital, Mayo Clinic. So please look at detail in my article. And Microsoft, I think that the Microsoft is a little bit earlier because they provide like Copilot project style, and then you will see that the what they're behind the business. Google, their Google Cloud, NVIDIA is a GPU chip, right? And then Microsoft, they have an Azure cloud, right? So all their maybe like they are trying to extend their cloud business in relation to that. And Oracle is the same thing, right? So please look at, I've shared this one. Please look at the chat, and then you will see my presentation, and look at my Medium article, and I detail about, look at this one. And then I focus on actually how to implement. So I build up the whole like a guidebook. So I already published it. So please look at it. So here is I provide how to build, implement, and iterate. Okay, so this is the one thing that I recently focused on DeepSeek, and then I particularly am interested in how to they apply in healthcare. And I found that in relation to AI agent, and I'm already mentioned that we have another speaker to talk about DeepSeek related to like healthcare application based on their recent application. But also like I found that DeepSeek have several like application module, right? You are familiar with like it's like the communication channel, like for example ChatGPT type. Another thing is like visualization, like the multimodal, they including not text but also like image, and they are very strong application, especially if they can be integrated extended reality in the virtual reality space. So please look at my article about this one. So, I missed here, but I will show you this one later. So, but anyways, you can check my Medium, and then under my title they have my article about it. So please check it. And then recently I also published like the this demystifying DeepSeek for health tech professionals. So please look at this one. Um, and I'm particularly interesting because I'm 30 years and more like except like last 2 years, I'm mostly in high tech industry, starting from semiconductor devices to semiconductors to like IT, telecom, and software, all kind of thing. And I found that I saw that this article is I get attention that why the tech industry want digital healthcare, right? Because all the like news media, something focused on developing and finding something whole like tech industry, big tech giant, but they never actually provide any kind of good news about the data of healthcare. And I really was interesting, and then I found that this healthcare agent may be the new opportunity to hire healthcare industry because of the viewpoint of my 30 years and 28 years in this industry. It is a good opportunity to integrate with healthcare and their traditional like focus in their technology. That's one I already wrote. So you should check this one. And so what's the next? I'm planning next webinar about the AI agent, the digital health convergence. So I will post it and then I will invite you all. And then I please check out this my previous webinar about OLED AI agent, particularly for Web3 agent. And then here is another one that I'll talk about healthcare AI agent, and I'm also like attorney, so I'm interested in regulatory because healthcare is very tied with regulatory matters. So please check that whether in the how they generate AI agent will be shipped the landscape, the regulatory space. Usually FDA, like recently they focus on this area. It'll be more complicated. Maybe they require a lot of the endeavor about including this as a regulatory scheme. Okay, thanks for hearing my talk. And the next, Kerrie.
Yes, I will share my screen and we'll get started. So I presume all of you can see my screen
Yeah,
at
I can
this
see that.
time,
Yeah.
and hopefully the quality is sufficient. Just a quick introduction to myself. You see some of my background listed on this first slide. My healthcare background has been derived with about 5 years
We are seeing
at
the wrong
Optum.
slide. We are seeing the wrong. You showing the docs.google.com.
I'm showing what again?
The docs.google.com is what you're showing. Is that's what you wanted? You're trying to show? Sorry if I'm
It
wrong.
is not what I'm trying to show.
No, I
I
Exactly.
can see I
apologize.
can see your slide. That's
Yeah,
okay.
I
Not
Then
I
sure.
believe we're seeing your slide and
okay,
demystifying
maybe it's on my
AI
end.
agents.
Yeah.
Okay,
You
sorry
see
about
multiple
that. Seems to be have
and
an issue on my
the
end.
Mitch. I'm s- I'm sorry. Who is not seeing my slide? I'm sorry.
It's
This is
okay. Yeah, you can go
Rangan.
ahead. Yeah.
So
Kerrie, you're good. We can see your slides.
It's okay. Go ahead.
okay, okay. I apologize. Um, yeah, I'm just confused there. Sorry. So as I was saying, from a background standpoint, I did pick up a lot of healthcare experience at uh, United Health Group, Optum, as a technology fellow there and a senior vice president, and also my experience at Google in the healthcare group at Google Cloud. And you can see some of the other uh, 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 inventions and or background items there. So what I wanted to do in this talk is the picture that you see there is really a picture that I think has not really been told. So of course we're going to talk about AI agents, which you see there, but I do think that we need to look at AI agents and the broader context of what's going on in terms of the evolution of AI systems. So Specifically, we've seen the introduction of large language models and their popularity, even though they predated 2022. Clearly, with ChatGPT, we saw the arrival and the power in terms of its impact on knowledge workers. And then in 2023, almost now 2 years back, we've seen the emergence of what's been described as compound AI systems. And I'll spend more time on that in a moment. And of course, in 2024, there's a lot of conversation, and hence our talk today around AI agents. And perhaps this year or later, we'll talk about something else. Maybe there'll be generative AI agents. The concepts I wanted to impart were I do think that the conversation around large language models is an interesting one, but I do think it's evolving. That I think we could agree that large language models represent somewhat of a monolithic model in terms of its, how it's used and how it's implemented. As a result, it has a tremendous amount of positives, but it has limited knowledge. It tends not to have the proprietary knowledge. It tends to have a start and end date in terms of how current it is. It's harder to adapt because of the cycles for training and other aspects. And of course, that's why we saw the retrieval augmented generation RAG come into being, because it's allowed us to see an augmentation to large language models, particularly in the healthcare field, our ability to get patients medical records, EHR records, and so forth. So couple of things we've just discussed, this change from monolithic models to compound AI systems. And I'm going to spend a little bit more time on that. I do think the emergence of compound AI systems is introducing new concepts into our thinking, which I'll explore in a few more slides. But it is and does promote this notion of system design. It is modular in nature. It's easier to adapt. But let's talk about AI agents for a moment. I do think there's a lot of not I think there is clearly a lot of conversation about AI agents. And I'm not a dictator of language, but I am biased. And my bias suggests to me that even though we use the word agent loosely, I think when we talk about an AI agent, we're not just talking about something that uses AI. I believe when we talk about an AI agent, we really should be listening to the conversations. And I don't know if Andrew Ning was the guy who introduced agents. I think he was, but I think his thinking should dominate how we think about AI agents. And specifically, what I mean by that is there has to be this element of reasoning. If we can't do reasoning, I don't see it as a agentic agent. It definitely could be an agent. It definitely could be an AI agent, because obviously anything that uses AI and that's an agent could be classified as an AI agent. The fact that it uses a machine learning model or uses reinforcement learning, whatever it does, computer vision, NLP, whatever it does, may qualify it as an AI agent. But I'm asserting that when we use the term AI agent today, we're talking about something that most likely uses large language models for reasoning. So that's my point of view, that if it's not doing reasoning, I don't put it into the scope of an AI agent. And again, that doesn't mean that these other types of agents aren't useful or powerful. They certainly can be and are. I'm simply saying that I think in 2025, when we talk about AI agents, I think that's the picture that you see there that we're talking about. Something that uses a variety of business tools. I just have a toolbox, but in that toolbox, I am suggesting that AI agents may, through the use of APIs or other mechanisms, will access a variety of other components, which I'm calling tools, business tools. They will act on information. They will act on data. They will act on events. They will have memory, being able to retain context about what's gone on before and what's going on now. They will be able to interact and have this ability of prompting, and this answer action scenario will be a part of what it's doing. I'm going to try to have some time for questions in the chat. But there's another aspect of agents that I think is out there, which is this notion of control logic. that I think we do have to have and understand that there will be control logic. And this is where autonomy plays a role, because I can make the agent fully autonomous or through control logic, or I can programmatically have a human in the loop. So I hope I've explained this picture to illustrate this concept that there is an evolution of AI systems that is occurring. This is just a small example of an AI agent leveraging an LLM for reasoning. What you see on the left is the scenario, the use case. Patient arrives in an emergency room. They're complaining of chest pain and shortness of breath, and suddenly an AI agent, which is a intelligent assistant, is assisting the emergency room doctor. So the assumption is that data has been integrated from the patient's EHR, lab tests, and what other types of readings like an ECG reading. The system, the AI agent, analyzes the data, suggests potential diagnosis, and then you see on the right a more detailed description of what would most likely happen. We would gather information as an agent, securely, of course. We would do data integration as an agent, where both real time and historical data is fed into the agent. The agent would do reasoning in terms of looking at all the data that it has at its disposal, and of course, it has to do this in a very rapid amount of time. But it would interpret the data. It would generate potential diagnoses and provide explanations. So as it generates these diagnoses, which you see as the last bullet, um, it will give probabilities to the physician in terms of what they think is the most likely scenario or diagnosis going on here. In this case, it's saying that it's a heart attack is most likely. But another most likely scenario could be a blood clot, a pulmonary embolism. And what's least likely is, of course, the aortic dissection, which would have probably resulted in death already. So this is just a simple example, but I hope you see how this might play into a bigger system. So with all of that said, what I'm trying to show in this picture is that I do think that all of you who are engineers, or those who engage with engineers, we're going to see the engineer uh, think differently about how to build AI agents. And so what I'm trying to depict in this picture is that the future system design is going to require we bring back some skills that many of you as CTOs or system architects have had or do have, where we're going to have to start thinking about the bigger picture in terms of solution architecture, event architecture. Are we going to build this agent as a microservice? What frameworks are we going to use? What machine learning models need to be supported? How do we pick the right LLM? Do we need to use multiple LLMs? How do we do an accelerator, ML ops? What's our data architecture? Are we going to use cloud? There's just a ton of design points and decisions, our non-functional requirements, what APIs. All of this is going to go into the mindset of this designer, of this architect, in terms of how to build, I would assert, AI agents. I don't see AI agents, I don't see their biggest impact as standalone. I see their biggest impact as part of something bigger, of which I'm describing as this compound AI system. And as I wind down here, I wanted to leave with you what I think are some interesting readings here. Um, uh, this blog out of Berkeley, I believe, is really what started the conversation around compound AI systems. So I encourage you to take a look at that blog if you haven't already. The next article is about someone I would describe as is quite bright and intelligent, but maybe a little bit cantankerous. But I loved his article on why AI agents aren't agents. I don't agree 100% with everything in the article, but I do think the author makes some excellent points for us to understand, what really is an agent. There's another gentleman whose name I won't recall, but if you click on the link, you'll find his name. He's published what he believes are 10 must-read AI agent reports. And I said he believes that. I think he's right. I think those are 10 must-read AI agent reports, and they're basically public reports from companies like Google, Salesforce, Claude AI, Anthropic, rather, and others. And then there's uh, a more educational type paper, referee journal paper that I think speaks to what I've talked about in terms of compound AI systems. Although this paper is not about compound AI systems, but it's titled "Agents Aren't Enough." I think that's a very short read, by the way. I think it's just less than 5 pages, if my memory's right. But I think it's something you should definitely check out and read. Um, and then, of course, how are companies using AI agents? That's a Wall Street Journal article, fairly new, but I thought it might be interesting to see what are some practical examples of low-hanging fruit. And with that said, I think I've exhausted my time. I'd love for you guys to take a look at a few books I've written in this space. They really don't talk about agents. I do have a third book in flight that spends a little bit more time on agents and compound systems. With that said, I don't know if I have a moment. I don't think I've exhausted all of my 15 minutes, but I may have 1 minute, 60 seconds, 2 minutes left. If there's any questions in the chat, I'll just feel free to leave them there and I'll respond as we proceed. I'll turn it back to Alex, and thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Kerrie. Yeah. Next, Rakesh.
Yep. Let me share my screen. Am I audible?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Let me know if you can see my screen.
Yeah. Perfect.
Okay, awesome. Just let me put. Right. Let me move this control. So first of all, thank you, Alex, and thank you for this time that you gave to me. And I know the challenge is big for me, going deep dive into AI agents in 15 minutes looks impossible, but I'll try my best. Okay, so one of the things that I learn or notice or realize in my lives while running the business is there is always a trade-off of efforts, time, and money. Okay, so I have to balance on either three of these parameters if I want to run a successful business. And for a business, like there are core business aspect of it, and there are supporting business aspect of it, and each as I said, each of the things, whatever you run as a part of the business, it needs time, money, and efforts. And how I can maximize my time, my efforts, how can I reduce my efforts and maximize my time, have more time to focus on customers and all. So that is the part of my talk and the demonstrations I would like to do as a part of these presentations that I'm going to share with you today, that how I have leveraged AI automations and the AI agents to automate certain aspects of my business, and also supporting functions which I can automate to, let's say, it can save me 5 minutes. I will tell you the whole case, but if a per event or per situation, it saves me 5 minutes over a period of time, it adds up and it saves me a lot of time. And that's what I'm trying to focus. Why I'm looking towards AI agents to automate my certain core business, my supporting business, so that either I save money or I save my efforts. And obviously, like it all boils down to how you save your money. Right. So let's get into a deep dive. Let me just, okay. Give me a brief about me. My name is Rakesh Gohel. I'm a founder of JUTEQ Inc., expert in agentic AI and cloud native strategies. Been in the industry around 25 years, advising on mostly on the AI-driven businesses and infrastructures modernizations. Our focus areas is always remains towards the AI strategies, cloud native innovations, and enterprise transformations. And why we are doing this? We actually helping the businesses to bridge between AI and the businesses, essentially to accelerate their AI adoptions and also to bridge this gap between the AI potential they can leverage, which can have a real business impact with them, right? Whatever the business they run. This is something about JUTEQ. We are empowering the businesses, two key areas, AI ML and the cloud. On the AI side, we have all Gen AI, traditional ML, agentic RAG, and AI agents. On the cloud side, we help the companies to strategize, architect, optimize, and automate various aspects of the business processes. And also, like while doing this, we help them to deliver solutions which is more cloud native, and also implementing the various DevOps practices. This is all for continuous integrations and the deployment of the various applications that you have. So just moving forward, I think Kerrie has already laid out Kerrie and Alex both have done a really good job. Why we need AI agents? It's because now we want to shift from automations to autonomy, okay? And we are not talking about a traditional chatbots, right? We are more talking in terms of reasoning agents which can talk and give you an intelligent response in your native language, right? And now enterprises are moving towards the enterprise adoptions. Basically, they reduce the cost. As I explained, I try to make my case what they can do. They can reduce the operational costs, enhance efficiency, and unlock the new revenue streams, which was not possible earlier. Okay. Now, Kerrie has already taken care of like he defined an AI agents, and I very much align with what an AI agent should be. It should be a reasoning, autonomous entity that works behalf of you to achieve a certain task. It can leverage tools, it can use memories, understands the inputs and the context it receives, and come up with the solutions which was originally designed that agent for. So the agent could be designed for a certain objectives. Every agent has a goals to achieve. And within that confined space, I would say confined because we want to orient every agent towards a single task of the work. As we know, agents are not humans. They try to behave or imitate like human, but if you assign them a single responsibility, they will do amazing stuff. And this is what I'm trying to focus. When you assign or create an agent, it has to be very single objective oriented entity, I would say. I'm not going to explain those 5 components because it has been those foundational components has already been covered. But basically, I believe we agree all what an input is, reasoning is, memory and tool and actions are. All right. So before we go into the AI agents, I thought maybe let's pause for a while and lay out the foundations. Why did we end up in AI agents? So if you go back, I would say a decade ago, we were talking about automations, right? You screen cap like you automate your mouse clicks or like typing things, and then you do a certain things on the screens to automate the digital workers, the toil he has to go through, right? So this is where we came up, which was a more rule-based, scripted, and it has its own rigidity in terms of how it's being done as a part of traditional automations. But then we move into something called AI workflow, where we started introducing an LLM calls within those automation workflow, where it leverages the reasoning capabilities, where it leverages the various other kind of capabilities to achieve certain tasks, to reduce the toil or to reduce the kind of the rigidity that we had in earlier version of the automations. But then we move into the AI agent. This is like from last year onwards, like from January onwards, we totally move into the AI agents, which is more fully autonomous reasoning entity, which works behalf of you to achieve a task. It has its own like benefits. It has its own weaknesses. And some of the examples I have laid out, like what and automations, normal automations, AI workflow, or AI agent, what kind of those examples are there you can see on the screen. I'm just moving fast, just want to make sure that I cover as much as I can. All right, so this is how we can build an AI agents. So I lay down the steps. It starts with the planning, start with your plan. It could be deterministic plan, contingency plans, hierarchical plans, or multi-agent plans. You need to design your workflow for your AI agents. Next thing is you're going to choose a design pattern for the agents. Let's say you want a real-time agents with response to the user's questions and do some data chunking and all and finds out an answer, you need to go for a React pattern. Now, if you are talking about self-reflection, this is something a very different breed. It means it looks into your past experience and then it builds on that experience. It identifies the key insights out of it. And then when a new knowledge arrives as a part of the agents, it's going to use that knowledge and it will build. If there is a mistake it has made, it's not going to repeat it because it absorbs the information which was fed as a part of the iterations that these agents are going through. So it reflects. So if you're planning for a strategic decision making, this is where you need to look for a self-reflection agents. Right. Next things are the tools. Like these agents, they are, as long as they are good at with their tools, like what kind of actions they can do behalf of you. If you don't provide that actions breach, you won't be able to achieve the things that you want to do, right? Because these are like digital things. They do reasons and everything the way the humans are trying to reason. It's like simulated reasonings they can do as a part of an LLM, but they can do in actions. And this is where you need to bridge the gap between getting an informations, getting the reasoning aspect of it and taking an actions on behalf of your agents. So the agents needs to have an integrations with external tools. It could be email, web search, vector search, or any other kind of tools. The next thing is your agent needs a memory, and that memory helps them to learn and adapt over a period of time. There are various kinds of memories available, short-term, long-term memories, which you can choose. And out of those memories on the long-term sides, you need to think about what is your what you want to put as a part of the procedures, the instructions that you're gonna give to your agents. That goes to your procedural memory. Then you have an episodic memory to remember every single turn of interactions that when you have with the agents. And the semantic memory brings the real world knowledge from the outside and grounds the whole agents with the factual information to reduce the hallucinations. So you need to organize this kind of information as a part of your system. Next, let's say your agent is ready and now you really need to evaluate that agent because once you develop a software, you don't just put it for run. You need to test it. You need to go through a various kind of unit integration system testing. But when you are designing an agent, you need to think about various aspects, like engineering aspects is technical performance, whether the API call frequencies are good enough. Is the context window is being utilized properly or not? There is an errors in the LLM. And the other aspect for the business will be looking for, is the cost is minimized? Is the resources are properly optimized? The third thing is the quality control. You need to make sure your agent is performing according to the expected quality you want out of an agent. And then lastly, we have a product team which will be looking into the usability and effectiveness of your agents, whether it is usable. There are 4 different aspects that I have covered and organized with respect to an agent architecture. Next thing, sorry, I'm going a little bit fast, but please bear with me. Risk and security and compliance. And these are very essentials for the industries that we are working in the healthcare. In healthcare, we need to look into various kind of data-related issues, privacy-related issues, access control issues, behavioral issues, because agent brings their own kind of problems. So you need to think about the behavioral issues, the model-specific issues to reduce the bias and all, and performance and various kind of exploitable vulnerabilities that you can have. So I'm just going fast forward. Once you follow all these steps and everything, you will be like going into towards a blueprint of an ideal agent, how an agent should function within your enterprise space. And this is what I have laid out, not going in details. I have a huge post on my LinkedIn. Maybe I can share it with you, but just want to make sure that I cover as much as possible. And now I'm going to into a real use case that we have implemented to automate our own solution architectures that we have built, which we call cloud architect agents, which actually takes the business inputs and uses with respect to 6 well-architected pillars that are given by various cloud providers, AWS, Azure, and GCP. And we produce a solution, design a solutions, and then once we design the solutions, there are various aspects needs to be satisfied of that solutions. So this whole job used to be done by solution architects, and this is what we have tried to automate as a part of our process. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to right away go into the solution architecture demo. So you can access the whole solution. Like if you want to create your own cloud-based solutions, you can go to this cloudagent.juteq.ca. It's help you to build a cloud architectures. You input your requirements. What is your architectural needs that you have? You input it. You provide your priorities. What is important as a part of these solutions? What is operational excellency? Then you can reduce up to the 100%. Reliability is important, and you can change according to whatever the needs that you have. Okay, so that is that helps you. Now remember, the higher you go, the more complex the solution becomes, because now it needs to address various aspects of the reliability or the security, and needs to like produce a solution which follows through a various, let's say if you are in a healthcare industry, then it needs to adhere to the HIPAA compliance. And because of the HIPAA compliance, it needs to increase a certain aspect of the solutions, and which will require more efforts, time, and money. But essentially, it's up to the organizations how they want to play out with the solutions. Okay, so you have like you ask, you input your needs, you create a solutions. Your solutions will appear slowly one by one. This is my previous solutions which I have executed because I won't be having a time for that. But here you can see the various aspects of cloud architectures being addressed, and it gave you a solutions, and it also produces an architectural diagram as a part of your solution, so that how your all pieces gonna work together. Okay, this is all done by a multi-agent solutions running behind the scenes, and it can give you this diagram also as a part of the solution. And then it will go down in individual various 6 pillars, right? There are 6 pillars. It will boil down to individually, and it will rate the solutions which you have selected. The solution that has been provided by this multi-agent architecture tool. Okay, and towards the end, it also produces Terraform as a code. Right now, like you can take this code, deploy it using infrastructure as a code. So that was the core business part of our systems, because when we deal with the clients, they come up with various kind of requirements, and we need to satisfy those requirements, how fast we can move. And this is what like we came up with a multi-agent architecture solutions to solve their problems. So this was one example. I know I'm already 3 minutes over. Give me 15 seconds. I'm going to cover the last one. And the second solution is I want to demonstrate, which I automated as a part of my meeting, which I have to do a lot of meetings with the clients and all. I meet many people as a part from my LinkedIn leads and various prospects and all kind of people that want to meet me and talk to me. I don't like, I can't spend a lot of time to understand that person's profile. So what I usually do, like I created an agent which runs behind the scene. So what this agent does, it takes the LinkedIn profile, which you can download as a PDF. So currently I have downloaded Alex profile, and I'm going to send this profile to my agent. Now this agent is going to work behind the scene. It will find out about Alex, that who Alex is, what is important to Alex, what he likes, what are his achievements. And what I can, like when I have a meeting with Alex, when I'm meeting it first time, I can talk about the Alex very fluently. Looks like there is some error, but let me show you there is what has happened with my previous one of the other persons that I had a connections and I was supposed to meet. It gives me a various key details about that individuals. It gives me an objective to have a conversations and talking. It gives me a talking points for build that rapport and all, right? And there are some various points it gives to me, and it also gives me a steps like to follow up on various aspect of it. So over to you. I know like I try to cover everything as much as possible, but if you have more questions and anything, if you want to reach out to me, please feel free to me. You can connect with me on my LinkedIn profile. And if you have questions, please send me an email at info@jutec.ca.
Thank
So
you,
over to
Rakesh.
you, Alex. Thank you.
Yeah, that's okay. Because I'm going to planning another really deep dive to
Okay.
focus on deep dive in the next webinar. So we will have, we'll talk later about how we go about that. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
Awesome.
thank you. Next final, Chia Jeng.
Hey everyone.
Jeng?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Can
yeah.
you hear me? Great. Hey everyone. Thanks, Alex, for having me here. So unfortunately, no slides from my side. I was very flattered to be invited, but I didn't have time at the last minute to build slides. So I'm happy to talk through a little bit about who we are, what we do, and some of the things that we're focused on that we are pretty excited about in the AI space that would unlock a lot of, we think, kind of the end mile of value that is still missing in a lot of AI systems. So for context, I think Alex added me after seeing the PatientSeek model that we released. So we fine-tuned a DeepSeek R1 model on one of the largest accessible and compliant patient records out there. And we did so specifically for what we call legal med workflows, which are workflows that touch both kind of legal workflows as well as healthcare workflows. And we were very focused on trying to understand correlations between diseases and events, especially insofar as it meets legal standards. And so that was something very specific that we were optimizing for our clients, and we open source that model on Hugging Face. So that's freely accessible for everyone. It's called PatientSeek. Feel free to check it out and play around with it. Background of the team. So we are a small venture-backed team that have been highly focused in the space for the past few years. Myself, background from Cambridge and Harvard. We have 2 PhDs in NLP and knowledge representation on the team. And what we are very much focused on publicly is a lot of helping large enterprises create knowledge graphs of their underlying information, especially when it pertains to LLM multi-agent frameworks. And so we've made a bunch of design choices that are specific to LLMs and specific to multi-agent systems in the infrastructure that we built and also open sourced. Some of the things that we are very much focused on these days and some of the things that we think represent some of the opportunities on the table, besides, I think, what some of the speakers have very eloquently talked through in quite a lot of really good detail, is that point on reasoning. And so we think that a lot of the reasoning steps that we can, with a lot of difficulty, build into systems today are still relatively simple. And that is a measure of kind of how difficult it is to use the technology as opposed to, I think, skill sets or kind of attention paid in the space. And so we are focused very much on creating systems, processes, and infrastructure to allow domain experts to very easily be able to inject their reasoning steps into a reasoning flow and allow them to continuously edit, refine, and build up that reasoning. And we think a lot of infrastructure these days are correctly focused on tool use, correctly focused on workflows, as opposed to kind of more domain expert reasoning steps. This is present to a decent extent in healthcare. This is also present in a decent extent in places like the legal space, where the expression of reasoning is not singular in the sense that there is no single right way to think about the situation on outcome. There are domains and professions where there are multiple ways you could argue a particular position depending on the position that you're taking. And you want to be able to allow the domain expert who is being prized for their particular type of reasoning to allow that reasoning to be built into a system. And so this is slightly different from, reasoning problems with an objective criteria, like, for example, and I know I'm generalizing here, but for example, things like math problems. And so that's essentially what we're doing and we're up to. We work with clients, typically large organizations, to help build kind of multi-agent systems from an end-to-end perspective. We've been doing this for the past couple of years. We've had academic access to GPT-2 way before that. And so we've been toying around with these systems for quite a bit. And if anyone wants to talk about knowledge graphs, multi-agent systems, domain knowledge, representation within LLM systems, I'm always happy to answer questions and talk a little bit more. And with that, I'll pause there.
Oh, thank you here. Yeah, maybe we can have another opportunity to. I'm going to deep dive also about this new platform. So maybe we can planning another like webinar and then more detail about actually I'm very interested in how to use your platform, right? To enhance gamification. So let's have a chance to look at it and then maybe we'll go for another webinar with a specific focus on like how to use your platform to enhance gamification. Is it okay?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're in the
Okay.
process of releasing a few things over the next few months, so looking
Yeah,
forward to it.
and then actually fortunately I have a like a article that I already mentioned in my presentation. Actually, the introduce your platform because one page already done through your information. So there's somebody interested in the Shear's platform, then please look at my like article, and then there is about a one page introduction, and then so here actually they have he wrote a very very good medium article about introduction of his platform. So if you're interested, look at it, and then he maybe contact you. Okay, so we have about 3 minutes left. So there are so many questions going on in chat, so I'm not sure we can have to answer all things, but I think that the best way is to I will share what was going on in chat because I'm recording and then also there is like a text also recorded. So I will share you and then it is relevant to you, and then you can provide answer to the specific question or and then you share your information and everybody attended today also like register because 250 actually registered and today about the 50 actually attended. So I'm going to share all thing what happened today recording and this text script from the chat so you can communicate each other and whatever post it. And then I just want to hear one of the audience hear you about what is you want any like share your insight about. I saw that many you're from different area, right? I'm interested in some. I talk about very interesting. Recently, I post about like a digital health solution for the cardiology thing, and then I'm also like very interesting in because of the is my next topic with the healthcare agent can apply to digital health. Particularly, I'm interested in like remote patient monitoring and medical diagnostic is a link with this healthcare AI agent. So yeah, so any topic you want to share, just we only have 1 minute. Is there anyone to want to share your insight? Mike, do you want to share anything?
I'll just thank everybody. It was a great presentation. Good to see my ex-colleague Kerrie Holley from Optum. Yeah, yeah, I work at Boston Scientific, so we're doing a lot of AI stuff. So very, very exciting to be, part of this world and helping bring AI to healthcare.
Thank you. And Harvey?
I just wanted to thank you for what all you guys are doing. As a doctor, I really think AI agents is the next wave, and it's going to help patient care, and that's what I'm most excited about. So thanks.
Thank you. Okay, so anyone? Okay, so Ananta, yep.
Hey Alex, first of all, thank you for organizing this. This is a very exciting area. And so I'd be really loving to see more on the drug discovery aspect because healthcare, you can easily think about that it will be the first adopter section. But what will happen in drug discovery and diagnostics will be another area which will be probably coming from healthcare. It will lead to those. And I'm still thinking or like how it will be done. It will be surely done. So probably next one you can actually focus on that area.
Oh
I
yeah,
really
yeah,
appreciate
definitely.
that.
You see that my next topic with the integrated T-Stat has, and then I'm thinking about the big topic will be the medical diagnostics and T-Stat therapeutics and remote patient monitoring and clinical trial and finally drug discovery. Right?
That's great.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. Okay, so thank you to everyone. And then I hope to that you will post a webinar to communicate each other and then share your insight. And then keep looking at my LinkedIn. I keep posting, and then I want to communicate with you also. And then particularly the next step will be I'm very interested in actual implementation. So as I mentioned that I'm now just like looking at how to actually can implement. As I mentioned that in like the big giant already doing, and then there was some startup doing, but actually that we need more, right? So that'll be our and my next topic that I will share, and then I will share you what the next topic will be. And it will be very exciting year because last year I really focused on digital health space, and as I mentioned, I look at about the 600 global startups doing all kind of activity, and I wrote several books about it. And this year I'm starting to healthcare and in focus on healthcare AI agent. So this will be very exciting to anyone interested in the AI agent and for me. Okay, so thank you for attending, and particularly I thank to all speakers to share your great idea. I will share my recording in just after this webinar. Okay, thank you. Have
Thank
a
you,
nice day.
everyone. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank
take
you.
care.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, then we'll talk later. Okay. Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.